Russ Shaw. This is another dash cam session, and I'm coming at you from the beating heart of downtown Seattle, Washington, in traffic. Yep, indeed. Trying to get over up in here. Anyway, how you doing? Me? I'm fine. Glad you asked. Thank you. It's a little punchy today here. Excuse me while I try and merge. I was listening to a Metallica song called Master of Puppets, and in the lyrics, in the chorus, is the lyric, blinded by me, you can't see a thing. Just scream, just call my name is all you scream. Master, right? Master of Puppets. It's a great picture, illustration, angry illustration of being stuck in addiction, being stuck in a bad habit, being blinded by the fact that you are a puppet on strings. I think it's a great metaphor. Rebellion, there's this thing about how we think we're free when we just live alone, live in our heads, don't really have anybody that we let behind the counter in our lives, right? That metaphor of being behind the counter or having a relationship with someone where you can actually let them in, you can trust them enough to let them in. Not a lot of people have that. That behind the counter analogy, I've used it before. Basically, it means that it's kind of like a small business. Most of the customers, they come up to the counter and they engage the business that way. But there's a select few that the business owner has that he lets behind the counter. A lot of us don't have that. And we don't talk to anybody about where we're struggling and where we're stuck. And even when we do, we have some of these shallow relationships with people that, just kind of this tribal, they're in my club. I trust them because they're as broken as I am. I had a lot of those kind of relationships in the past. But it had me thinking about obedience. I'm a Christian. I don't subscribe to religion. I can't stand religion. I loathe religion. And really investigating this man, Jesus, and the work of the person and work of who Jesus really is. It's more about human history than it is religion, and that's the truth. It's the history of what if God became a man? I started entertaining these thoughts in my recovery because I just, this whole come up with a God as you understand him in 12-step just seemed like voodoo, right? Making up some fairy tale thing. I really started investigating this person, Jesus Christ, and how he was a rebel in his own right. Like, he was rebellious against the religious elites of his time. He's also God in human flesh, and he said that, and he kept saying that, and that's why they killed him. But to prove he was the authority, the ultimate authority, to prove he was who he said he was, he came back 3 days later. There is a whole ton of historical data on that, not just in the Bible, but outside the Bible. If you measure just the data, that's something I investigated. I went through a class as a machinist on statistical process control and statistical evidence for anomalies. And one of these really cool things about the turn of, right, the Anno Domini, right, it's 2012 now. The first century, there's this mountain of data around this man, Jesus Christ. You can't ignore that. It's not religion. And he says, obey the commandments, right? If you love me, Jesus says, obey the commandments. He doesn't say obey the commandments so that you can look better, and be prideful or say, hey, look at me, I'm better than everybody. That's not why he said it. He didn't say, obey the commandments because ultimately we have a really hard time doing them and he wants us to live in some kind of despair. He doesn't want that either. He says, obey the commandments so you can love God and love other people better. loving God and loving others better. That's what obedience is. The Holy Spirit, he says, call on me, ask for the Holy Spirit, and I'll give it to you. I had to really investigate what that even meant, because I was stuck, totally jacked up and addicted and hopeless, because I tried so many times and failed. 6 years clean now, man. It's awesome. I pray that you experience what's real and true, all right? And hit the flush button on religion, because religion is the enemy of the gospel, which is a new story that's been reported. It's not religion or a list of do's and don'ts. Later.